everyone?
What up, everybody? How we doing?
Ian and Vito minus Liz right now. You guys will catch her in another video. Right now, it's just the two of us coming at you with another Doc Rich. It's been a minute.
What you think getting serious?
Life's getting serious, man. Democratic Party is eating the shit out of itself.
Let's just jump in.
But let's hit that button. Yeah. Let's get this going.
All right.
See what Doc has to say.
Maybe I made the wrong decision this time around. Maybe I shouldn't have voted for Kamala Harris. Maybe I should have voted for Trump. Maybe next time I will for somebody else. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't know about J.D. Vance because I remember those extreme positions he took, but I wouldn't hesitate to vote for Marco Rubio in a heartbeat. That's reasonable.
We got to talk about Stephen A. Smith today because there has been some speculation, some talks about Stephen A. possibly running for president. Yeah, I know. Crazy, right? But I came across a video clip from the Jason Whitlock show. Shout out to Jason Whitlock. And he's on with, I believe this guy's name is Marcellus Wiley, if I remember correctly, is his name? Yeah, Marcellus Wiley. And they kind of go into it a little bit, and I just want to talk about it with y'all because their discussion actually reveals some things that I didn't even know. So with that being said, let's dive in.
Stephen A. Smith apparently wants to be president or is making noise like he wants to be president.
Yeti, chin up, bro. You got gold in you, bro. Trust me. Come on, let's go.
Can't have nothing nice.
Bro, come on, man.
Sorry, everybody. Damn, man.
Oh, go on. Yeah!
Bruh.
Laundry can be really ew. But you're...
I wanted to...
Okay, we're good. I mean, I don't think it's that ludicrous.
No, it's kind of, would probably be the most reasonable Democrat to run in a while.
Yeah, I don't think it's, like, people out here say, oh, it's crazy for him to run. Why?
But you see, here's the thing. They won't allow him to run.
Oh, no.
The super delegates would
ever
they're not
give
Stephen
like
A.
him.
a chance to actually run.
No, they won't like him.
They wouldn't let him actually go through the primary process.
The Democrat people would like him.
Oh, yes. The voters would actually probably vote for him.
Yeah.
But they'll never let him get on the stage.
No, it'd be like, no. But if he got enough traction, can you really ignore it if he got enough traction?
They would find a way. Like they would do to him exactly what they did to Bernie. Even if he made it, they would let him on the stage. He'd get all the way to the convention, and for some reason, he just didn't have enough to get it over the edge. They would have.
I mean, they really did. They did do Bernie wrong.
They would do the exact same thing.
Yeah, I can see. Yeah.
And they would try to salvage it by making him VP.
Making Stephen A. VP?
Yeah. That's
who
what
would you make that?
Doesn't matter. It'd be whatever figurehead they think they can control. They think that by getting the VP, they would get the support that he would garner through the primary process.
I mean, if you let Stephen A. roll with it, you get like the whole sports world.
But I don't think Stephen A. would fall into that. He's not going to he would have to agree to be the VP.
That's true.
To know what you think. Could Stephen A. Smith be president of the United States, and what does it say about America, American culture, that he's even in the discussion?
He absolutely could become president of the United States. Now, if he runs as a Democrat, which I assume he is, even though if you listen to him, a lot of times the moderate, sounding independent, sometimes even conservative, I don't know, but I think he's going to go Democrat. That's a pretty weak pool. All indications, it's a pretty weak pool. I mean, it's led still by Harris, and a lot of people were saying, is she going to get your vote this time if she didn't get your vote last time? The Republican side looks a lot stronger, with J.D. Vance, et cetera, but this is why I think he can, and this is why I hope he's not. I think he can because Stephen A. Smith knows how to gather and rile up emotions.
Yeah.
And if you're going to
be
what you need,
he knows how to talk to people.
You see Stephen A. debate?
Yeah.
He can debate.
Exactly. He knows how to talk.
And he's animated enough to catch a lot of people's...
And it's not that he's articulate. He knows how to talk to the common guy. He knows how to break it down and explain it to you.
Yeah, he doesn't use like you're not getting lost in hearing him talk.
Right. He's not trying to talk to make himself sound important.
Yeah.
When he's talking, he's talking with purpose usually.
It's like he can talk to you like Lupe, not like Royce.
Right. Exactly. I don't always agree with everything that he's saying.
Yeah,
but
Royce,
he has confidence behind his words when he's speaking.
It's like Royce, we get it, you can rap, but you're not dissing.
But you see, when Stephen A. walks into a room, he's kind of like a Donald Trump in the way where he commands the room.
No, that's fact. That's fact.
Kamala Harris walked in the room, she commanded nothing.
Nah, Stephen A. can command the room.
You see what I mean?
Yeah, he can command the room.
When she walked in the room, nobody gave a shit. When he walks in the room, people are like, oh shit, it's Stephen A. He's got that star power behind him because he's got the name.
And I don't think he's afraid to say things.
No, he's not.
So, okay.
No. I mean, look, he's one of the only guys at ESPN that survived speaking his mind.
Listen, he's the head. He may not be the owner of ESPN. He's definitely the face of it.
If ESPN was stupid enough to ever fire Stephen A. Smith, he could start his own
they would lose
sports network.
People who don't even like Stephen A. still watch like First Take and all that just to see what he's gonna say.
Yeah. Whether they agree with it or disagree with it.
Exactly.
They watch it to fight with him.
Yeah.
Because he actually engages and can back up a lot of what he thinks he believes.
That's true.
So it's actually a fun argument with him because especially if you come intellectually with him.
No, facts.
And not just try to low blow with him.
Facts.
Because he'll low blow you and keep on moving.
Yeah.
He don't give a shit.
Or when he's bored in a debate, he'll do and it's entertaining.
Right.
So
again, he says some things I agree with, a lot of things I don't agree with. But when it comes to sports takes, I agree with a lot of his sports
That's
takes.
true.
He's a very reasoned New York fan. And there's not many New York sports fans that are reasoned. Especially in the media.
Yeah, y'all Knicks fans.
And he's a Knicks fan.
Yeah, that's true. So
I got to give him that. He actually
he's
tempers his takes a little.
True.
To do is one, be able to gather the people, and an emotional charge is the best way to gather them. Yep. But two, you got to be in a position where you can delegate. And you're not sitting there answering every question, doing everything. You're presidential. You just got to present yourself as the boss. And then from there, have the right people that you can delegate to that are smart and that can make those decisions. So, Stephen.
I mean, in a way, he's right. Yep. Joe Biden wasn't running the government not long ago. It was other people, right? According to what we had speculated and according to some new information now,
did you see
I believe it came out of
see the information that's been coming out about Joe Biden?
Wasn't there a thing like no one could get like a meeting with him from like October to like January?
From his first year in office. Not from last year. That was from 2021 to 2025 or 2024.
Wait, no, because he was president 2020 to 2024.
Yeah, but that they couldn't get it from October 2021 to November 2025 or 2024.
That's 3 years. Yeah, that's bad.
Yeah,
that's bad. I agree with you. That's bad.
They neglect to leave that information out. That means every single time Mayorkas, they came on there and said that he's robust, leads these meetings. They were never having these meetings. They were just lying to people.
Well, let me
we had a secretary.
How many meetings can you take in a day?
He's the president of the United States.
No, I get it. He's that's a big responsibility. But I feel like if I was the president, okay, is one of you. It's 24 hours in a day.
Yep.
I'm probably gassed by the 6th meeting, man.
How many meetings you think Trump's taking a day?
Oh. Who else you got to look at? Are these like meetings or
Phone
these
calls.
like conversations in passing?
Well, they're still meetings. Phone calls and everything. Every time you're on the phone with the world leader, it's a meeting.
Solid meetings, you probably... That's a lot, first of all.
Solid sit-down face-to-face meetings, he's probably in 20, 30 meetings throughout the day.
See, I can't do that. I get tired of talking to people. I'll be like, all right, this is like my 10th meeting today. What we doing?
especially when each conversation is probably 15, 20 minutes where they're doing this. Go get this done. Next person comes in.
But it's like, it's not just the meet, like one-on-one. I could do like 20 of those. But if you're in a meeting, it's you the president, you're in rooms with like 40 people.
Well, they've shown his cabinet meetings. He's already done, 2 or 3 where they've actually televised his entire cabinet meeting.
Man, that's...
When's the last we saw Joe Biden hold an entire cabinet meeting once, and he was there he said 3 words, and Jill, take it away. Remember?
What would you do? Would you just get tired of talking to people?
You're the president.
That's true.
You got no choice, man.
That's true.
You are the leader of the free world.
Do you think you can look at the priority of the meeting?
Of course. You're the president. You
Like if this ain't that important, I'm gonna talk to y'all tomorrow.
Yep.
I gotta deal with this right now, but all right, I'm gonna talk to y'all next week.
You're the president of the United States.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
You want to move a meeting, you move a meeting.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true.
Trump moves an entire day to go golfing. You're the president of the United States. You can do what the hell you want, but you still have to take those meetings eventually. Unless you're Joe Biden and you just keep pushing them off.
Man, no.
But no, the prostate cancer information that came out,
Yeah.
it metastasized to the bone. They didn't just find that in the last 100 days. He didn't get prostate cancer when he left office. You know how long it takes?
He probably had it.
Yeah, he had his entire presidency.
I mean, that's kind of gangster to run some shit with prostate cancer.
He wasn't running shit.
that's kind of. I'm playing devil's advocate.
If he was actually out there running stuff, there would have been more video of him actually being in charge and running stuff. They hid this man as much as possible. When he was on camera, he would stumble through his words. You honestly think he was running anything?
Listen, remember during the debate where he was struggling, that's when they sound the alarm.
That's my point.
That's when the fire alarm was pulled.
Imagine being a world leader trying to have a conversation with that.
Yeah, a little difficult. Vito's a little difficult.
Big difference between Biden and Trump in office, let me tell you.
The liar-in-chief, Jake Tapper's book, there were some other folks running the government, basically. It wasn't Joe, which we all knew. So, I mean, technically, he ain't wrong. We've already seen
They
it.
can certainly do that. And candidly, I know that he's making some of those moves with some top people that we have in common. I'm like, yo, if he has that team with him, he going to kill it. Because he's going to win the rallies. He's going to win the debates, etc. Here's why I don't want him. And every now and then, Jason, I even say, I sound like a hater, but oh well, it's the truth. I don't like panderers. And there are too many times he panders. And the last thing I want to see is Stephen A. Smith having that power, second black president, pandering to my people, to the people, because all it's going to do is be harmful for all of us, including the people he's pandering for. And I hate it. It just totally gives you the handicap sticker that you don't need. It puts you in some bubble that you don't need to be in. And I don't want him to do that. So if he can make a promise, an oath, that he would stop the pandering part, everything else, I think, checks the box. I think
he's got a point there.
I disagree with everything else checking the box.
He's got a point there when it comes to Stephen A. That is one of his downfalls.
Yeah, so can he turn it off?
Exactly.
That'd be a challenge for him. I'd like to see if he can do it.
Because you can't pander to anybody at that point. You have to actually go right down the middle.
Yeah, I'm down to see if he can do it.
I still don't think the Democratic Party would actually let him do it. Just like what they did to Bernie.
Bernie had momentum too, man.
Oh, Bernie would have won that election.
Yeah, and then
He's crazy. He just takes money and runs.
But
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But you know me. Mm-hmm. I want to be as serious as the presidency is. Some parts of me, I want to see Trump and Stephen A. debate. I just want to. I eat that up like popcorn.
Yeah, I know, but Trump's all done. He doesn't have to. He can't run again.
That's true. He can't run again.
He'll be debating J.D. Vance, which
that'll be
That would be interesting.
That would be interesting. I'm down for that.
I don't think he would out debate JD. When it comes to politics, that's what JD is. Sports is a different thing.
Stephen A might get him.
Not in politics. Sports, yes. You've never seen him debate politics with an actual person who understands what's going on. You see him debate sports all day long.
That's true.
He can walk circles around somebody when it comes to sports. And yes, the same type of tactics work. But not when you got the information on your side.
It's going to be interesting.
Look what JD did to Kamala Harris in the debate.
This is going to be interesting, man.
Or Tim Walsh, I remember.
Yeah, Tim Walsh.
Tim Walsh saying, I agree with you in the middle of the debate. Tim Walsh was agreeing with what JD was saying in the middle of the debate.
It shouldn't have been Tim Walsh. I think it would have been a better chance of the Van Shapiro, but
He's too Jewish.
And I think that's crazy. Like, okay.
And again, but he's also a very good talker as well. That's a guy, Shapiro.
Shapiro can talk.
I don't think that Stephen A., let alone before even JD Vance, he's got to outduel Shapiro.
Yeah, Shapiro's
Not to
a
mention,
talker, man.
Shapiro has Pennsylvania behind him.
Yeah.
Because yes, he's a Democrat, but people of that state love him.
That's true.
That's why it was so crazy that Kamala Harris didn't pick him.
Yeah, when I saw Tim Walz, I was like, what are we doing?
You got no chance.
I was like, what are we doing?
You pretty much punted on Pennsylvania the second they passed on Shapiro. But he was Jewish and they couldn't do it because of what was going on with the Palestine protests.
Man.
They would have lost too much of a different sector.
Box, but I do agree with the pandering being a hindrance and not a benefit, right? Because you guys know the old saying, give a man a fish, right, versus teaching a man how to fish. Pandering is giving somebody a fish. They're going to keep coming back to you. But if you teach them how to fish, now they can sustain on their own.
Guys, yeah.
Sometimes tough love is the best love. I always used to say, you can really tell a difference between your associates and your best friends. Your best friends are always going to tell you what you need to hear.
Yeah.
Your associates or just casual friends in passing, they're going to tell you what you want to hear. I don't want people in my life or around me that tell me what I want to hear. Tell me what I need to hear, even when I don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
Tell me what I need to hear, because that's going to be way more beneficial than you just telling me, oh, yeah, everything is fine when everything ain't fine. Oh, I'll just give you everything for the rest of your life. Yeah, and how is that making me a better person? Because now I'm dependent upon you to give me everything. What happens when I upset you? Or what happens when you're no longer there anymore? Now I'm back to square one, right? And that's why I'm not the biggest fan of Stephen A. because he's right. He's just a pander in chief.
At BreezeLine, great connections come in pairs. Switch to fast, fiber-powered gig internet for $49.99 per month.
Because yes, he can get to that.
I think he can do it.
Yeah.
But I'm more interested in hearing what you think, because I know it's going to be a little different.
Hold for 1 second, though. You've said something fascinating that I don't think I've heard anyone else say. And particularly with you having gone and graduated from an Ivy League school, that puts you in rooms and connects you to people at the center of American power, at the center of global power. And you just said at the beginning of that, Stephen A. is making connections with those people and is working. Could you just expound on that? You don't got to drop names, but it sounds like you know and believe like, no, he's serious about this and is making those types of connections.
Yes. To protect the guilty, because all this hasn't come to fruition just yet, there are some uber powerful people that have not only tremendous wealth, but also political power that are working behind the scenes to find next candidates. And I know that Stephen A. Smith is in connection with them. I'm in connection with them, but not for the candidacy, but our relationship. And I know that if Stephen A. Smith were to work with these people, they have put presidents in the office before. And let's just say they had a lesser Q rating, a lower Q rating than Stephen A. Smith does right now. They weren't as popular, they weren't as polished, and they were able to get them across the line. So if Stephen A. Smith, that's why he always qualifies it. He's like, look, I have no interest, but I got to keep my options open because he knows he qualifies. And by qualifying, maybe you'll have a change of heart if enough of those opinions finally are internalized and you say, let's go. But here's the problem for Stephen A. Smith and everybody. And this is why, in general, it's a weak pool. Therefore, he could win. The process of becoming any elected official, let alone the
Sorry, I had to sneeze.
president, destroys whoever you are in character and morality. Yep. They will find or make up the worst things about you. Therefore, the best of us don't want to go through that process, and you're left with a lesser pool of candidates. So it's a compliment to be in the running, but at the same time, we got to know what this really is. We are getting rid of all of the PhD, Ivy League, MIT, top brains, people who have invested, social activists in the community. All those people who could do it and probably are better qualified are not doing it because they like their life. They like to live in a positive existence. So then you just get a lesser pool. And I think that Stephen A. Smith certainly qualifies to win based off the names I see out there.
That's why a lot of people on either side don't want to run because of the forward-facing you are, the mud that you're dragged through.
They dig all up into your life and everything.
They sit there and tell you something you said when you were 15. You still believe this? I said that 35 years ago.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it's different in today's society. Like, you're not allowed to grow as a person anymore. You're supposed to believe everything from the day you're born.
You're not allowed to make mistakes anymore.
Yeah.
Like everything, something you believed at 8 years old, you still believe now.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, they don't allow any growth. It's crazy.
Say J.D. Vance is the number one, but outside of him, I think Stephen A. Smith could beat them all.
I don't think Stephen A. Smith could beat them all. Could he beat the Democrats?
Yeah, he could beat a lot of them. Yeah, he could beat anybody.
Absolutely. I
Stephen A. could wipe the Democrats.
There was
there's a lot of Republicans
with Stephen A. Smith, Jasmine Crockett, AOC, Josh Shapiro.
See, that would be funny.
Pete Buttigieg.
Stephen A. Smith versus AOC.
That would be hilarious. I'd watch that.
I would watch the shit out of that.
Yeah.
Because he would walk circles around her on the stage, especially because he's a New Yorker and she's destroying the area of New York. Because she's the Bronx. He's Brooklyn, right?
I think so, yeah. That'd be interesting. I ain't gonna lie. Because they would both get animated with each other.
Oh, yeah. Because he's Brooklyn, she's Bronx.
No, facts.
That would be really, really funny.
That would.
Because he would sit there and be calling her out how she doesn't even represent the Bronx anymore. She cares more about her Instagram lives, her national audience, than she does about her constituents in her district.
Oh, man.
I could see Stephen A. Smith wiping the floor with AOC.
No, facts.
That would be hilarious.
Gavin Newsom, Gretchen Whitmer.
Yeah, that's another one.
Yo,
Stephen A. versus Gavin Newsom, AOC, and Gretchen Whitmer.
Vito, that's different. That's different, man. That's different, my guy.
But that's my point. You have to get through them.
That's true.
Before he even had a chance to talk to J.D. Vance on stage. And I really don't think I don't think he'd be able to debate J.D. Vance when it comes to the national issues that the people care about right now.
I mean, I see what you're saying. I'm down to watch it though.
Because again, even J.D. Vance is not Gavin Newsom.
Yeah.
You can't even attack J. They tried to attack J.D. Vance's record as a senator when he was running for VP, and you couldn't do that because Ohioans loved him.
Man, the future's looking different.
That pool of people. Do I think Stephen A. Smith could come out on top? Yeah. He knows how to talk.
Yep.
He knows how to talk, right? And he also doesn't have a bad track record to look back at.
Exactly.
To scrutinize, right? Like Gavin Newsom does, right? We can look at California and see how that's been run and be like, nah,
don't
no
like
thanks,
that. Don't
right?
like that.
We can look at Pete Buttigieg and see what he's done and be like, nah, I don't want that. Same thing with Kamala, right? And so on and so on. Stephen A. Smith doesn't have that. So he kind of has a little bit of a leg up there. But in terms of beating Republicans, nah. He ain't beating J.D. Vance. Even somebody who I keep mentioning, but I never hear anybody else mention.
Yeah, he wouldn't do him.
Stephen A. Smith couldn't even beat Larry Elder. Yeah.
Oh, Larry Elder, yeah.
Stephen A. Smith
that would be
going toe-to-toe with Larry.
That would be an awesome debate because Larry Elder would talk circles around him when it comes to politics. People do not understand how smart Larry Elder is. Because especially when it comes to politics, Larry Elder's, and he's from California, Larry Elder's well-versed.
Okay. All right.
Larry Elder's well in touch with how the people feel about things.
Okay.
He wouldn't be able to talk around Larry Elder.
This is like a WrestleMania matchup.
That would be hilarious.
This is
Larry Elder on a debate stage. Who do you think's coming out on top on that?
That'd actually be a ticket I would love to see.
It's a rhetorical question. We all know Larry Elder's coming out on top. Bro, we have watched Larry Elder dismantle people's arguments in terms of politics. Now, of course, we talk about sports. Stephen A. Smith, he got
that's
that.
true.
He got that.
Dave Rubin, who became a...
We watched that.
Yeah.
We
the whole reason he's not a Democrat anymore is because of a conversation he had with Larry Elder. We watched the conversation.
Yeah, that was, Woo, damn. We've been doing this long? Jeez.
So imagine just having a conversation like that with Stephen A. Where a well-reasoned, where he's not getting animated and he's just spinning it back to you.
Yeah, I feel you.
Larry Elder's a different animal.
That's what he does on a daily basis.
I wish he was the governor of California
politics,
right now.
No,
State would be coming
Larry
back.
Elder is mopping the floor with this guy. Mopping the floor with him. And like I said, he ain't beating J.D. Vance, and he darn sure ain't beating Larry Elder. Larry Elder is a guy that I have yet to see anybody else be able to recall statistics. Maybe the only other person is Thomas Sowell. Shout out to Thomas Sowell.
Yeah, that's another
I hope
dude
he's
that's
still
very
doing
smart.
well. I wish Thomas Sowell was young enough to run for president, because boy, would he be a phenomenal candidate. But Thomas Sowell is like the only other person that I've seen that's able to recall statistics like that. I mean, in whatever moment they can just bring up, well, in this situation, blah blah blah.
That's
boom.
what I mean.
And in this
with
situation,
certain
blah
people.
blah blah. Boom.
That's what I mean by debating a guy like J.D. Vance.
If you can just pull up stats like that.
Yeah. Larry Elder can do stuff like that. J.D. Vance can do things like that too with the things that he knows. With issues. That's what I'm talking about when it comes to straight issues.
I see what you mean on that.
In a straight debate like that, he's gonna pull out those numbers like that right away. And Stephen A. ain't gonna be able to talk around that. He can wipe the floor with other Democrats. It's not gonna work against J.D. Vance. Or even a Larry Elder.
Time's gonna tell what the party decides to go with. I see Stephen A. get some traction.
Oh, he would have traction.
I don't see him being like the candidate. I don't see the party letting him do it.
Yeah, they said the same thing about Donald Trump. But the difference is there's no super delegates that could stop Trump. That's why Trump was able to get the nomination. The Democrats would not let Stephen A. get the nomination. They would stop him with super delegates to put their preferred candidate in place like they did with Hillary.
Yeah,
that's the difference in the two parties. Because the Republican Party hated Trump when he first went. They didn't want him in 2016. They thought he was a joke. Everyone was laughing. They didn't think he had a chance. And then he kept knocking down every candidate one by one by one. Remember, Jeb Bush was favored in that election. People forget. Yeah. People forget that the heavy favorite was Jeb Bush. Ted Cruz was remember the debate with Ted Cruz.
Yeah, you got a point. You do got a point.
Trump was just a talker at that point.
Yeah.
It is absolutely
it's a lot better now than what he was then. Now
the numbers and statistics they both have in their brains that they can just bring up like that. It's crazy. And in a debate, that will destroy somebody else's debate when they start talking a bunch of nonsense. So yeah, I don't think Stephen A. can just be anybody and everybody. Do I think he could come out on top on the Democrat side? Yeah, he could very well be the Democrat nominee. Do I think a lot of Democrats will vote for him? No, not now. Not now. That is not where the Democrat Party is. Do I think the Democrat Party will eventually get to where Stephen A. Smith is? Because I fully believe Stephen A. Smith is a Democrat through and through. He might try.
It's the far left that Stephen A. wouldn't be able to get.
Yeah, you need the far left.
Unfortunately for the Democrats, that's what they need right now. And if you cater to the far left at all, you lose the rest of the party. So you can't. So you lose any of the sane Democrats are going to keep voting Republican because they keep seeing the party cater to the far left. So that's why the party's in shambles right now.
You're really playing chess when you're doing this shit, man.
You're catering to a destructive force that is cannibalizing your party, but you're at a point now where you can't win without it.
That's crazy to think about,
but
isn't it?
You also need to be able to pull Republicans to vote for you to win anything, and you're getting to the point where you can't win elections anymore. I seen a poll that out in New York where, at least for governor, Elise Stefanik is 1 point behind Kathy Hochul.
Damn.
In New York.
Yeah, that's crazy. Which has always been Democrat.
So if polls are showing her behind by 1 point, that means Stefanik's up by like 5 points. That means in a deep blue state, they're about to vote a red governor. Because we're still, if she's only a point behind right now, she still has a whole year to campaign.
Yeah, no, it's fact. Yeah, it's fact.
So the more they cater to the far left, the more they lose.
It's chess, man. We're playing checkers. They're playing chess.
Well, the sad part is they think they're playing chess, but they're playing checkers with checker pieces. They're playing chess with checker pieces.
Okay, there you go, Vito. There you go.
Try to play this game like, oh yeah, I'll vote for Marco Rubio, which I ain't the biggest fan of Marco Rubio either. Although he has been doing a fantastic job.
He has been a good job as
in the Trump administration. But I still remember the past Marco Rubio, and I'm just, it gives me a cause to pause. But yeah, I don't see Stephen A. Smith actually garnering the votes in a general election against a J.D. Vance or a Larry Elder or whoever else is the Republican nominee.
Yeah, I don't know if he
but I personally believe it's going to be either one of those two if Larry Elder chooses to run, which I think he should personally. But that's neither here nor there. I don't see Democrats voting for Stephen A. because he's not super far left, but he's a little closer to the center than where most Democrats, the Democrat voting base currently is. So he wouldn't win. They'll get there eventually, but it's going to take until after the 2030 general election for them to get there. The midterms, they're probably going to lose. The 2030 general election, they're going to lose. And then after that, I think that's when the Democrat Party will start to
I think Doc's right here. It's going to take the Democratic Party 2 cycles to correct the ship because they have to detach from the far left. They can't, because regular, sane, moderate Democrats are looking at the far left like, we don't agree with that.
No, I mean,
The most average, sane, moderate Democrat, if you ask them, even on abortion, they don't agree with abortion at 9 months. Most moderate Democrats believe abortion up to what I want to say that 3 months. I think is the most they agree with. The most extreme I think is up to 6 months.
I do agree with you. There's a lot of extremists.
That's exactly my point.
And it gets to the point where you're like you ask the question, how far are we going to take this? And then, I don't know. It's just, it's really sad that people don't know how to talk to each other anymore without getting angry.
Exactly.
And I think until that dies down, this is how it's going to be.
And it's going to be harder and harder for Democrats to win elections,
general
elections.
People are like, oh, you got to, if you disagree,
you're allowed to disagree. There's no reason to fight about it.
You don't have to have violence because you disagree with someone. That's what's crazy.
Like, there's things Ian and I disagree with. You don't see us throwing hands.
Yeah.
Like, we have a conversation.
We just be chilling, man.
Sometimes we just agree to disagree and go our separate ways at the end of the day. But that's it.
No, I feel you. I feel you, Vito. Or the people who always got to be right. I'm like, bro, it ain't that deep.
But he's right. It's going to take a couple cycles for the Democrats to even be competitive again. Because right now the far left has it captured and they need to suffer a few more defeats before they realize their way ain't working. People do not agree with their extreme positions.
I feel you.
Stephen A. Smith is. If this is the center, Stephen A. Smith is to the left of that.
He's left.
He ain't far left. He ain't way off the screen. Right?
He's left of center.
He on the screen, but he ain't center. Even though he tries to portray that he is.
He's left of center.
Yeah, I don't see Democrat voters voting for that. But that's just my humble opinion. You guys can let me know yours. Make sure you guys hit that like button to help out with the YouTube algorithm as always. And leave a comment because those help out too. And if you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. Thanks for tuning in as always. Peace and love. I'm out.
Later, Doc.
Yeah. Damn ads, bro.
I don't hang with rats. That's some new type shit.
Get this future crap off my. Oh, man.
I agree with Doc on that one.
I mean, I'm down to see Stephen A. go for it. I ain't gonna hate on your parade or nothing. I'm down. I'm like, let's go.
I think he'd be one of the furthest. He'd be able to make it to. I think he'd make it as far as Bernie. I don't think they'd let him actually take the nomination.
But then again, you never know in this world, Vito. Anything can happen in this world. But man, let us know what y'all think. Right now, I think if the Democrats want a candidate, yeah, Stephen A's your best choice. Other than that,
how sad is that, though? Fucking sports analyst is the best bet for the Democrats.
Hey, a reality TV star won it.
But he was a businessman. Reality TV star, yes, but he had built a business empire. He wasn't just a reality TV star. It's not like he wasn't Mike from Jersey Shore.
Okay.
It's not like Mike from Jersey Shore is running the country. You know what I mean? It's a big difference there. Big difference there.
Well, hey, I'd be down to. I'd be down to see Stephen A. versus JD Vance. I'd be down to see that debate. I would like to see Stephen A. I just like seeing him debate. I think it'd be interesting to see him debate somebody.
I just want to see Stephen A. walk circles around AOC because that'd be hilarious.
It would.
That would be hilarious.
That would. But guys, as always, let us know what you think. Like, comment, subscribe, blow us up. Y'all know what to do.
Thanks for stopping and spending some time with us today. Hit that notification bell, give it a share because it does help the channel out.
Please and thank you.
See y'all in the next one.
Later.